যিহেতু তুমি কন্টেন্ট বুজি পোৱা মানুহৰ আন্ডাৰষ্টেণ্ডিং বুজি পোৱা মই সঁচাকে কনফিউজ হৈ যাওঁ দেই চিনেমা ৱৰ্ল্ডত এই সালমান খানৰ চিনেমাবোৰ কেলে চলে মানে মানুহে কি ভাল পায়
এতিয়া নচলে
Hi Amrita, hi Ranjulda, welcome to Upstream and good evening to our viewers.
Good evening.
So আজি আমাৰ মাজত এগৰাকী স্পেশাল গেষ্ট আছে অমৃতা গোস্বামী এসময়ত একচুয়ালি মোৰ বেটছৰে আছিলে কটনৰ আজি তাই জাৰ্নিটোৰ বিষয়ে জানিব বিচাৰিম কটনৰ পৰা টিচ আৰু জেএনইউৰ পৰা গৈ পিনে এতিয়া এমএক্স প্লেয়াৰৰ ভাল পদত আছে
মই অমৃতাকটো বহুত আগৰ পৰাই চিনি পাওঁ এতিয়া পঢ়াতটো বহুত চুকা আছিলে বাৰু এতিয়া প্ৰেজেন্টলি হোৱাট ইজ দ্যাট কি বিকজ আমি যেহেতু লকডাউন কোভিড চলি আছে আমি সবেই ইমান ডিজিটেল কন্টেন্ট চাই থাকো তাৰ মাজতো এটা বহুত উঠি অহা ডিজিটেল কন্টেন্ট প্লেয়াৰ হ'ল এমএক্স প্লেয়াৰ আৰু অমৃতা ইজ দ্য লিড কমিশনিং
আচ্ছা পিছত কম বাৰু এটা বেছি হৈ গ'ল
ঠিক আছে বাৰু কটনৰ পিছত তোমাৰ জাৰ্নিটোৰ বিষয়ে অলপ ক'বা নেকি তেনেকুৱা
কটনত মানে এটা অভাৱনীয় বস্তু হ'ল যোনটো মই এক্সপেক্ট কৰা নাছিলো মাহতো কৰা নাছিলো মই ধুবুৰীৰ পৰা আহিছিলো আৰ্টছত ষ্টেণ্ড কৰিলো তেতিয়া মানে সবে অলপমান যেহেতু ষ্টেণ্ড কৰিলো সেইকাৰণে মানে IAS কৰিব লাগিব সেইটোৱে মানে আণ্ডাৰষ্টুড লাইন কিন্তু ৰিজাল্ট ওলোৱাৰ আগতে দিল্লী অলৰেডি গৈছিলো কাৰণ জানুৱে আৰু মানে অকমান ৰিজাল্ট ভাল হ'বই মানে অসমত নপঢ়ো দিল্লীত যাম পলিটিকেল সায়েন্স ললো বিকজ মাই ফাদাৰ ইজ অলসো আ প্ৰফেসৰ অফ পলিটিকেল সায়েন্স তেখেতে ধুবুৰী কলেজৰ পলিটিকেল সায়েন্সৰ প্ৰফেসৰ আছিলে পিছত প্ৰিন্সিপাল হৈ ৰিটায়াৰ কৰিছে তাৰপিছত বন্ধু বান্ধৱ যেতিয়া গোট খালে তেতিয়া ইন থাৰ্ড ইয়াৰ প্ৰশ্ন আহিল এতিয়া কি সো মোৰ যোনজনী বেষ্ট ফ্ৰেণ্ড আছিলে আৰু আমাৰ এটা গ্ৰুপ আছিলে সবে মানে বম্বে গৈ আছিলে কিবা নহলে কিবা এটা এন্ট্ৰেন্স দিবলে আৰু আমাৰ সময়ত মানে এনেকুৱা চেন্ট্ৰেলাইজড এন্ট্ৰেন্স নাছিলে স্পেশালি ফৰ TISS সো এন্ট্ৰেন্সৰ বাহানা কৰি বম্বেত গৈ 3-4টা এক্সাম একেলগে দিলো আৰু একদম যেনেকে মানে এক্সাম দিবলৈ যায় মানুহ আৰু এটা বেগ লৈ পেলাই গলো কিন্তু তাহাঁতৰ ইমিডিয়েটলি দুদিন পিছত ৰিজাল্ট ওলালে সিলেকশন হৈ গ'ল এণ্ড এসপ্তাহৰ পিছত ক্লাছ আৰম্ভ হ'ব কোনো মতে দুদিন লৈ আহি হোষ্টেল খালি চালি কৰি মানে তেনেকে যাবলগীয়া হ'ল আৰু সেই that's how my Bombay journey started without any plan for it and once TIS started I must say that মোৰ লাইফত মানে that has been a turning point in my life in terms of personal and professional growth TIS শেষ হোৱাৰ পিছত obviously I got into the NGO sector that was a natural progression I got exposure to go and attend conferences outside of India to understand Southeast or South Asia women condition ki dharanar hey so Vietnam golu South Africa golu through the organization I was sent tar pisor pora jodi saba je work and studies went hand in hand so মই সেইটো বস্তু বুজিলো যে যদি ফিল্ড আৰু একাডেমিক এক্সপিৰিয়েন্স যদি ম্যাচ কৰিব পাৰি সো মই সেইকাৰণে মাস্টাৰ্স কৰি 2 বছৰ কাম কৰি এমফিল কৰি 2 বছৰ এমফিল কৰিলো আকৌ তাৰ পিছত কাম কৰিলো তাৰ পিছত PhD কৰিলো আকৌ কাম কৰিলো সো মই তেনেকেই কৰি গৈছো সো তেনেকে মই IIT এমফিলত পালো যেতিয়া মই যেহেতু মোৰ সোশ্যাল সেক্টৰ হেৰি আছিল IIT এটা ডিপাৰ্টমেন্ট অফ হিউম্যানিটিজ এণ্ড সোশ্যাল সায়েন্সেস তাত মই এমফিল লৈ ললো লৈ পেলাই তাত এমফিল কৰি থকাৰ সময়তে I got a chance to go for another conference on which was on gender minorities your LGBTQ groups and their struggles and all of that all over South and Southeast Asia কিন্তু যেতিয়া মই তাত গলো I found that very interesting and at that point in time I'm talking about 2007 at that point in time তেনেকুৱা কোনো ষ্টাডি মই পঢ়া নাছিলো আছিলে বহুত কেইখন কিতাপ but people from belonging to that community who were scholars had written something about it but there was not much work not much and I also didn't know much about it I was very intrigued ki India to hoboi lage aru India to enuka bahut study thakibo sage মই যেটা আহি প্লে মোৰ গাইডক কলো মই টপিক চেঞ্জ কৰিম and all of that he was a little shocked because he is like etu kiyo koribo khuja মই না because it's my interest can I do it so they kolo kora and that's how I got exposed to the queer world in Bombay surprisingly again I had no plan কিন্তু মই যেটা টিছতে আছিলো সৰি IITত আছিলো তেতে টিছৰ যোনটো এলুমনাই হেৰি থাকে নহয় মেইল গ্ৰুপ তাত এটা মেইল আহিছিলে that Lintas, Low Lintas is an advertising agency, is looking for somebody from social sciences to join them. Okay, in their strategy department. When I went there and I got interviewed, I realized the guy who was heading the planning, which is consumer strategy, he is an ex-Tisian, bahut agor, amatke bahut senior. And he realized that he wanted somebody from social science background because they have more exposure to people on the ground, on the field, then MBA probably, which will be more about books and case studies and all of that. So since he's from that background of TISS, he wanted somebody from there. Obviously, I got the job. Hetu hoisile planner or kam hoy dhara creative ki decide kare ki kobo, how to advertise a product, but planner decides what to tell in terms of a product to বিষয় এনুকা কোনটো কথা কম যোনটোৱে আপোনাৰ লগত বা কনজিউমাৰ লগত কানেক্ট কৰিব। এটা কনজিউমাৰ যদি অসমৰ বা কনজিউমাৰ যদি আপাৰ আসামৰ ভিজাভি লোৱাৰ আসামৰ, তেন্তে কেনেকে ডিফাৰেণ্টলি কথাটো ক'ব লাগিব, কি কথা কোনটো কথা এটা চাহৰ বিষয়ে যদি মই গোৱালপাৰাত কাবাক ক'ব লাগে আৰু মৰাণত কাবাক ক'ব লাগে, দুটা বেলেগ বেলেগ কথা কি ক'ব লাগিব, আৰু হাউ টু টেল ইজ দ্য জব অফ দ্য ক্ৰিয়েটিভ। So I knew that I want to do my PhD, but I didn't know where. But like I definitely knew এইটো নকৰো, কিন্তু ক'ত কৰিম, কিহত কৰিম, কি টপিকত কৰিম সেইটো তেতিয়ালৈকে sure নাছিলো। This was an option, but then I got transferred to Gurgaon. That's where I met Ron and Jayanti actually. I got transferred to Gurgaon due to my work. Ogilvy kori asilo, Ogilvy logot moi Gurgaon kumalu, and then I thought this is the right time, maybe I should take a break. There is JNU here, aru secondly now I don't want to work in this sector. Jeta tat golu eta muk khudile tumi kihot koribo bisara, so মই কলো I would like to do it in gender or in films and all of that, because যদি ফিল্মসতে কৰিব আছে তেতিয়াহলে তুমি cinema studies departmentত কিয় নোযোৱা। So I applied korilu and I got through. Our more field work was very exciting because field work was in Bombay with all the filmmakers. So I did an industry study rather than a film appreciation study. So how basically how the corporate world works and what happens to independent cinema in that zone. So tetia corporate apunar Sony Tony ebur sob ahisile no, hetu samoyte ahisile aru 2000 I took the timeline of 2005 to 15. So 5 or samoyt ebun 5 6 7 manot 7 at first ahisile mane heribur. So 5 or pra you have seen shows like independent cinema like Khosla Ghosla, Love Sex and Dhoka ebur aste aste ahisile. There's a corporates came, they became a sort of portfolio approach eta anile, dangor cinema bonam, horu cinema eikekhon holot he release korim, iman samoy he cholibo. So distribution, production, circulation strategies changed. Tapisot thankfully MX Player happened because it had just started in 2017 and I got through. I applied and they called me in 2018.
এটা তো আমি কল যে মানে অমৃতাই অসমৰ পৰা কটনৰ পৰা দিল্লীৰ আইপি আকৌ বম্বে টিস তাৰপিছত IIT তাৰপিছত আকৌ দিল্লীৰ JLU এখনো এৰিয়া
মাজতে ছিংগাপুৰ।
আৰু সেকেন্ডলি আৰু এটা ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট মানে কথা এটা তাই যেতিয়া কৈ আছিলে সিনেমাৰ কথা, ভাস্কৰে চোৱা নাই চাগে, মই তোমাক এটা লিংকটো পঠিয়াই দিম। তাই IIT থাকোতে
Yes sir, please Ron, no you can't do this. No, you can't do this.
মই লিংকটো আমি শেয়াৰ কৰিব লাগিব কাৰণ
no please
বিৰাটে ধুনীয়া প্লে এখন কৰিছে, নামটো পাহৰিলে কিন্তু দেই, কি আছিলে?
Thank God for small mercies.
ওলাই যাব। So for your work is basically to find out the various culture, all the region jore hok, what to bisari uliabole to and give it to the creative guys.
Tamane planner kame etu jodi eta product and who we are talking to is very important to find out who's the core audience. Acha, but I'll just give you a basic example which is on a case study, not something that I worked on. Pond's Age Miracle বুলি এটা product asile, hetu Singapore story. Pond's Age Miracle or product tour, they just wanted to find out what should be the color of the bottle. So finally they found out that through research and through talking to consumers, they realized Age Miracle is needed only after a particular time of or particular age basically. Women mostly use it. So tahati they found the connection between fertility aru age, the connection of the till the time the woman is young she is fertile, okay, and fertility, the color of fertility is red, and hence they came up with the product with the color red because it is a visual cue. Yat tumi eko message diya nahi, message is Pond's Age Miracle lagayenge itne dinon mein itna ho jayega, whatever type of, but the visual cue is such that Olay comparison of Pond's Age Miracle got picked up much more because of the color red, and it was an anti-aging product. These are the kind of things, but in this, if you come to think about it, there's a huge gender stereotype juntu khumai ase. So it got a lot of flack for making it so stereotyped, like women are all about fertility, and once they lose the fertility, the partners lose interest or whatever. All those things are very hidden, but they were not untrue because they came out from researches, from talking to men and all. I'm just telling you how messaging, even if it's not really upfront, even if it is absolutely covert, how messaging makes a lot of difference. And it can be a visual messaging, it can be an audio messaging. So
it's amazing that a color message hobo parise. That's
color or message. Yeah. People picked up those because of the visual cueing. Instantly anti-aging, fertility, red, and they picked up.
So like I mean, so you never thought ki mane tumi advertising or join koribo. It kept on happening as you progressed through your career.
Most things kept on happening except for this OTT thing, because I was very sure I wanted to get into an OTT platform. I just didn't know how. Karon mur okkono production experience nai, ekdom zero experience. Moi mane ekdom bhaba nasilo keneke, kintu that is one thing I was very very keen on, because I knew that the boom is going to happen with OTT. Since 2016 it was my last chapter of my PhD. So jete hetur upor moi kame arambho korisilu, moi bhabisili sam khumale to eitu industry te khumam. This happened before I submitted my thesis. So last 3 months of my PhD submission and first 3 months of my job clashed.
Tia tumi mane MX player or olop bohalai kobo lagibo.
Okay, so I'm not head of content or anything. Obviously, when I got the job, I was just told that I should, because I'm a PhD, no? Sobe bhabe PhD mane পঢ়িছে no বহুত, কিন্তু সবে না ভাবে আৰু কিমান পঢ়িছে কিমান PhD মানে তো পঢ়িছে নহয়. Can you read? Because there are very few readers in the industry, which worked for me actually. So when I went for this job, I said, I just met the person. I said, he saw my CV, he called me to meet him. And when I met him, he's like, what do you think you can do for us? I mean, I know I want to be in this industry, and I know I have done a PhD in cinema, although theoretical, but my topic is about the industry and it is very fresh. So koa ki lage? So I said, to be porhan nai. I like to read. Would you like to read scripts? I said, always. Na.
Filter mane ki? What do you do exactly?
First filter mane moi decide korin de etu amar kane work kore na not kore. Jodi moor level etu pass na hoy, then it will not go ahead. Mane within 2-3 months I became the first filter, because I think moi besi fast পঢ়ো, বাকিবোৰে slow পঢ়ে. দুটা ভিতৰত এটা হ'ব লাগিব, কাৰণ not many people read. I was reading I was reading like
filter many scripts at the same time down.
Yeah, I could. So initially এটা দুটা এখন কিতাপ দিলে মই কিতাপখন এদিনতে শেষ কৰিলো, দুটা স্ক্ৰিপ্ট দিলে মই ইমিডিয়েটলি কৰি পেলাই দি দিলো. So they were like, okay, then more. So এনেকে আস্তে আস্তে start হল. And once I got into it, within 3-4 months of me joining, I became the official first filter of all kinds of pitches মানে নতুন pitch যিমানে আহিছে সেইবোৰ official first filter হলো. তাৰপিছত আস্তে আস্তে অলৰেডি যোনবোৰ আমি কমিশন কৰিছো shows, সেইবোৰ স্ক্ৰিপ্টবোৰ যেতিয়া লিখে মোক পঠিয়াই, কেতিয়াবা চাই দে কিবা আছে নেকি, something starkly not working and all of that.
So what is the philosophy behind judging it? মানে এটো বস্তু চলিব নচলিব নে মানে কিবা এটা থাকিব লাগিব? How do you judge that?
So that's what earlier I just knew that whether the story is nice, matlab a good story is a good story, a bad story is a bad story. You can sense it, anybody can sense it reading it, right? But beyond a good story, like there could be 3 stories which are very good, reading very well, but I may pick one out of the 3, and that would be basis who my audience is, what he or she likes, what works for them, what is relatable to them. So more audience jor pra ahise, and that's where my past experience worked, because more audience jor pra ahise juntu my advertising or case koi asilo je more audience jor pra ahise tahotor karone, what in terms of what they are watching. আৰু আজিকালি কিন্তু এইটো ক'ব নোৱাৰে, যদিও মোৰ audience tier 2 tier 3 বা heartland India পৰা হ'ব পাৰে, we can't say that they have lack of choice. কাৰণ আমি যেতিয়া ৰিসাৰ্চ কৰিবলৈ গৈছো, and research is very important to understand any person's interaction with a product. It could be a visual product, it could be a physical product, but research কৰোঁতে আমি গম পাইছো যে SD cards পোৱা যায়, য'ত 20 টকাৰ SD কাৰ্ডত তাহাঁতি গেম অফ থ্ৰোনছৰ এটা season in Hindi চাই আছে. So they have access to all kinds of content in Kanpur, Lucknow, Barabanki, Raebareli, sabote. What is happening is they are choosing still, right? A to saise, A to swana. What is driving that choice is very important to understand. and they are all also going by IMDb rating. I mean, quite surprising that IMDb rating is a huge thing for these kids out there. So so I mean, Gompaloji, it's not that lack of choice or tahati content side. Tahati content side because there's something about that content which connects with them, which is what we needed to find out. So moi tapisor aste I got involved. I created a model which is the Greenlighting model, which goes through all these filters of who our audience is, what he does, what he likes, what he doesn't. So content way to key level of tar logot connect koribo, tar logot at a very very emotional level of connect koribo ne tar real life or reality rupot connect koribo ne he juntu area pa ase miliu to tar logot connect koribo je amar jagat enuka hoy eta jamtara হয়তো অসমৰ ল'ৰাটোৱে 10 বাৰ ভাবিব কাৰণ তেনেকুৱা গাঁও নাই তাত বহুত তেনেকুৱা গাঁও আছে where people are kids are being trained to do this. The parents are thinking that they're doing some work like etu পইচা কামাই আছে ন etu তাক কৰিব দিয়া এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ. So at least चोरी नहीं कर रहा है, डाका नहीं डाल रहा है, मार नहीं रहा है, यही तो कर रहा है, पैसा तो कमा रहा है. এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ বহুত আছে. So what is the world we are talking about? Is it going to, there's a huge difference between aspiration and alienation. যদি মই বেছি uber urban কিছুমান concept দেখো যোনবোৰ আমি কৰিছো which we have done also very uber urban niche concepts বা stories যেতে দেখুৱাইছো there is a instant alienation ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है ये नहीं होता है ऐसा हो सकता है क्या the moment that question comes in his head no we've lost him in the first 3 minutes also what is the hook first 3 minutes of তোমার inciting incident কি যোনটোৱে ensure কৰিব যে সেই মানুহটো at least bore hok g no hok he endo like a saboy because he wants to know what is going to happen. So first 3 minutes of what you're going to do. So all those models pori meli baki bahira show sai meli we created and then eventually now all new shows have to go through that through me and then if I think it has some potential I take it to my boss who's the content head of MX Player. So whose call is the final call but he doesn't get into anything. It's only and he's told me anything that is below 8 in your head don't bring to me. If you score it 8 out of 10 then only bring to me and then mostly hoye jay junbur nohoy hebur either commercial reason hobo ba keteba acha right now we are not developing something in this genre but that's why moi dhorok now I have a team also so but we at least have to read like about 50 concepts a week to max get one or even none. 3 সপ্তাহত সাগে এটা কনসেপ্ট ওলাব পাৰে মই 150 টা পঢ়াৰ পিছত সাগে এটা ওলাব পাৰে যোনটো I may take it further for further evaluation to put it in the funnel মই তো কেতিয়াবা ফানেলতে নাঢালো যে পঢ়িয়ে গম পাই যাও যে এটো ফানেলত যোৱাৰো হেৰি নহয় মানে কাৰণ because it doesn't make any difference so that's why my role is of a senior commissioning editor and so I edit and sometimes I get into development also I edit so some concepts enuka hoy kunbur ahe junbur birat interesting thake kintu hoyto at this point in time in the 30 page document it's not I can just sense the potential of the concept but it is not coming out jetia moi porhi asu 30 page so I will go through 2-3 sessions I will tell them to come back to me with a little explanation kodba logic bomb ase kodba kiba ase but this concept has potential so people will do that and then I'll put it in the funnel so that's why editing or work hoy
is it also ki okay some states have the maximum population. So where I'm going is that because maximum I can see UP based, Bihar based, or the Delhi based.
Yeah, Hindi speaking market is the biggest market.
Okay.
Hindi speaking market, Tier 2 is the biggest market. 18 to 30-year-old men.
Okay. So that guides your funneling or the filtering.
Yeah, for us. But actually in today's day and age, I'll not say it's for us. Even unfortunately for certain other platforms tahator subscription model karne people will not pay for the subscription because they have access to everything even on Telegram forget about the SD card Telegram tumi aji type kora jikono eta cinema naam ba jikono eta herir naam it will show every episode is available amar show ase ami to hekre ko ami to free bhai amar show ko tati Telegram ot kyo sai aso because people are so used to it has become the LAN of IIT juntu koisilu sob show ase.
So basically আমাৰ ভিউয়াৰক আমি কৈ দিও মানে MX প্লেয়াৰৰ যদি কিবা আহিছে এতিয়া লকে আগলো জি আহে অমৃতাই চাই মানে ওকে কৈছে হে কাৰণ so she is the girl who does all the iteration you actually filter কৰে I just ask ki since the population order basically monetary is the one major factor basically right because to our maximum subscribers hetu part আছে so আমি তেনে হলে will it not never come ki northeast or pinopa ekur enuka dhoroner content nulaboi ni
No, so that's what. So my aim is that to me, it's a northeast or manhue to Jodio. It's not based on northeast. They have seen the kind of ashram. I think has been seen by one and all when I speak to people. I mean, starting from the driver who got me from the airport to the thing to the house, to a priest in Indore that I met in a temple, to obviously my friends and family and peers. Everybody has watched, right? So our aim is to get universal concept, that it may be based, or the milieu may be based on a particular area, but the concept is such. নহলে তুমি ভাবা না ইউপিত বহা ল'ৰাটোৱে গেম অফ থ্ৰোনছো চাই আছে তো, তাৰতো কোনো কানেকশ্যন নাই। সি বহি পেলাই হোমল্যান্ড চাই আছে, what does he know about homeland, like what is this? He has no idea about all that. Family Man to completely different here. You know, Family Man is one of the most watched show across the country and otherwise. I mean, it is half of it is Tamil, the season 2.
Yeah.
It is almost like a regional show, but it is watched everywhere. So universal concepts is the game. You know, story, excellent writing, scam to ki asile. Mane, it's a story, simply written story about a man who had dreams bigger than his feet and how he went about it. And tar heitur karone it is one of the most watched and most popular shows, not just amongst you and me, but amongst everybody. People who don't know, moyo na jano, tumi jana, moyo na jano stock market obikhoy, but that didn't stop me from binging it in one night, right? Because it's all about the universality of the emotions that you portray, and the characters, how relatable they are, their dreams are, their fears are, no matter where he's from. So even if moi hikane noko, yes, our maximum core audience comes from a Hindi speaking belt, but that doesn't mean that this guy sitting in Guwahati or in Nagaon is not watching our shows. They are also watching, because they have to relate to it. And even if I make a show based on Assam, কিন্তু সেইটো যদি connect নহয় at a universal level with the guy in Assam, he'll not watch it. Forget about others. So most important, relatability to a relevance to the psyche, to what's happening is much more important, to the character and the world.
I think Family Man এটা স্পইলাৰ দিছিলে এই নাগালেণ্ডৰ এবাৰ নেক্সট সিজনটো নাহানি নাগালেণ্ডৰ থ্ৰুৱেদি কিবা কৰিব নেকি
জানো কি দেখাব এনেকুৱা লাগিছে
এনেকুৱা মানে লাষ্টত কিবা এটা স্পইলাৰ দিছে ফেমিলি মেন পাৰ্ট 3
দেখিছো
তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ এনিৱে ভাস্কৰ কোৱা
মই এটা দুটা কথা সুধিব বিচাৰিছো এটা ধৰি লোৱা তুমি এতিয়া যেহেতু ডিসাইড কৰা যে এইটো ক্যাৰেক্টাৰ মানে কানেক্ট কৰিব নকৰিব হেনেকে ডিসিশন লোৱা ৰাইট তো তোমাৰ লাইফত এনেকুৱা হৈছে নেকি তুমি ইমাজিন কৰিলা এইটো ক্যাৰেক্টাৰ খুব ভাল ৰিলেট কৰিব বাট ইভেন্চুৱেলি ইট ডিডন্ট ওয়ার্ক আৰু যদি তেনেকুৱা হৈছে what did you learn from that?
Oh, there are a lot of instances like that. নহয় তাৰমানে কি হয় মোৰ ওচৰত যেতিয়া আহে এইটো 30 পেজৰ ডকুমেন্ট এটা আহে জাস্ট পিচ ডকুমেন্ট যোনটো বাইবেল বুলি কওঁ পিচ বাইবেল তাত কি থাকে ফার্স্ট সিজন 2 স্টোরি আর্কটো থাকে বিগিনিং মিডল এন্ড এন্ড কি হ'ব প্ৰথম মানে স্টোরিটো কেনেকৈ আৰম্ভ হ'ব তাত কি ঘটনা হ'ব সামটাইমস লিনিয়াৰ ফ্যাশনত দিয়ে সামটাইমস তাতে এপিসোডিক বিটস বুলি কয় প্ৰত্যেকটা এপিসোডত কি ঘটনা হ'ব হেতুৰ বিটস দিয়ে 4-5 পেজৰ মাজত তেনেকৈ কৰি পেলাই এপিসোডিক বিটস দিয়ে কেতিয়াবা একদম বিগিনিং টু এন্ড স্টোরি এটা পঢ়ি থকাৰ নিচিনা story document এটা আহে now হেতুত মই মোৰ লেভেলত I will see the potential of this story to become big, but then when it's passed on, once it's commissioned, it will go to a creative producer, and when it goes to a creative producer, that person along with the writer will develop the screenplays and the dialogues. So from where the story comes to where the story becomes, most of the time obviously when I see the potential, it surpasses that. Most of the time people take it to another level, and then production at jaote aru eta level tomar director e loi jabo jeta when you bring somebody like Prakash Jha took Ashram to another level. The story was there ready when we took it to him. It was a 9-episode story. He made it longer, he made it bigger because he wanted to bring a lot of things into director's input. So at every stage everybody inputs. The writer, when এবাৰ লক ইন হৈ যায় ৰাইটাৰজন যেতিয়া তেওঁ লিখে একেলগে বহি স্ক্ৰিপ্ট লিখে ডায়লগ ৰাইটাৰ এটা আনা হয় যোনে যোনটো ৰিজনৰ ভাষা সেই ভাষাটো ভালকে জানে তেতিয়া তাত আৰু বহুত নুৱান্সেছ আহি যায় সো মোষ্টলি এনেকুৱা হয় যে তুমি যোনটো দেখিছা যোনটো ৰিজনৰ কাৰণে তুমি ষ্টৰিটো লৈছা সেইটো লেভেলত যায় বা তাৰ ওপৰত যায় sometimes we write it in a particular way, but when it goes on floor আৰু যেতিয়া উলাই আহে তেতিয়া মানে it disappoints you. There have been instances where we have been disappointed also, that আমি যোনটো visualize কৰিছিলো লিখি থাকতে Or junto screen tahil, it's not actually the same, and it has many factors. Maybe the vision of the technicians were not the same as us, because ami to tat goi nobo now, no, ami story to diu, ami to produce koru, ami to nobo now. Bonuar manu to bahute mili banai, director, DOP, editor, light man, sob dhoroner manu ase. So ami junto bhabu visualize koru, hetu keteba keteba nahe on screen. Aru keteba keteba junto on screen ahe, hetu mane amak ekdom iman heri kori diye ki wow, ami to eneke bhabai nasilu. So lot of times there are this, the learning is that one thing is that if the story is good, my only learning is writing has to be ace. আৰু সেইটো মই নিজৰ শ্ব'ৰ পৰাও গম পাইছোঁ. মই এটা শ্ব' এনেই ট্ৰাই কৰি চাইছিলোঁ, ক্ৰিয়েটিভ প্ৰডাকশ্যন, চিন্স আই হেভ নো experience per se in production, and my key job is to do this, to look into pitches and all of that. মই এটা এনেই ট্ৰাই কৰিব চাইছিলোঁ, and thanks to my boss, he allowed me without any experience whatsoever, and I did it. It's a hit with my audience because the story connects with the audience, and especially that age group, it connects and everything. But my learning is that I could have written it much more if I had the time. I could have gotten it written well. I could have taken 2 more months and writing to aru tagra korile juntu response paisu tar aru balu heten. It has got a great response, but I am not being able to be very happy because
কোন করে এখন আমি সোয়া নাই যে গম না পাও যে
saisa এই recent junkhon ulaise Indori. So Indori-ish.
Okay.
So I just feel মই যেটা চাওঁ আৰু যোনটো numbers আমি পাইছো, but যি ধৰণৰ response আছে বহুত ভাল response, but মই fully happy হ'ব পৰা নাই, কাৰণ মই ভাবিছো ইছৰাম আৰু অলপমান সময় যদি ডায়লগত বিতালো হেতেন, আৰু অলপমান সময় যদি ৰাইটিঙৰ কাৰণে, so there's always that thing. It's very difficult to please yourself. Matlab, there are two things. One is whether it works with your audience or not. That definitely it would, because at a selection level only I'll have to know that whether it works with my audience or not. But what will happen in the process, audience code disconnect ho jay in the making, or in this lot of other things. So hetu sobar hatot na thake, and disappointments and over exhilaration dutai thakibo, mane surprise ho hoba, shock ho hoba, but that's a part of the process, and that's why it makes it so exciting that every day is a new day, every day is a new learning. Nothing is same, not a single, there is a process for everything, but not a single experience is the same. That is what I like about it.
Your job is definitely exciting.
No, actually, Amrita, so like, okay, now since ako mane olop beheri hoisu now, amar junbur viewer ase, yeah, like you have gone through a certain process, and to me where you have landed up where you are now, of course. So it's like jodi konobai advertising ba enukwa dhonor field or nijor career to ag bahabo bisare, so what is the normal approach, mane keneke dhorone, how do people go about it? Jodi
I'm the wrong person to ask, কাৰণ মই না এটা advertising course কৰিছো, now মই MBA কৰিছো, now মই এইবোৰ একো কৰিছো. I know that the natural process is to do your masters in advertising and communication, do your MBA in communication, or to be on the other side, to be in the marketing side, you have to do an MBA, and then you are a part of a brand which you build together along with your agencies. If you want to be on the creative side, then you just have to be good. You have to be a good creative person who has to think like instantly. You have to be funny, you have to be witty, you have to be a good writer, you have to be a good narrator. I mean, to be storyteller hobo lagibo to be. And if you want to be in planning, which is a boring job, the boring part of it, but we are called the think tank. We were called the think tanks of advertising because we used to think. Creative people are like, they're all about the instinct that ye kaam kar jayega, you know, this will work. And I mean, in a normal conversation, Balki would get up and say that just every chai makes you wake up in the morning. We just let's say that let's awaken, and that's how jagore happen. Har subah jis utho mat jago. You don't need any training for these kind of thoughts to come out, right? So creative process is very, I think it's too latent, it's too inborn, too latent, and it's obviously some bit of writing experience. And if you are into writing as a child, you have the flair for it, probably you'll get into it. But marketing and planning and strategy and all of that, yeah, I mean, you need to have some kind of research understanding. For marketing a brand, you need to have some kind of brand understanding. You have to read about them. You have to do some course probably, or through experience you get to know people, and then you should pray that you get somebody who is from TISs and ask people from TISs to join. So it's all kinds of things.
মই যদি কওঁ তোমাৰ ষ্টৰীটো শুনি পিনি one line is basically follow your heart, life will happen.
I guess so. I guess মই জানি কৈছো মই জাস্ট এইটোৱে জানিছিলো কি নকৰিম মই জানো মই UPSC নকৰিম মই তেনেকে পঢ়িব গলে মই মৰিয়ে থাকিলোহেঁতেন কি কৰিম নাজানিছিলো
ভাস্কৰে নাজানা আৰু এটা বহুত ইণ্টাৰেষ্টিং মেবি সামটাইম so juntu etu kole the jagore on that flick of Harry, so we have got a Amrita Junjun husband. He is also a very good friend of mine, Sri Ram. So he is the one who created all these Dream 11, few of the cred heads and all the all
the creative
the Havels or Edbur
Wacko
eta bahut mane award winning ad juntu moi saisu, maybe someday I'll get him also in this show. Sri Ram is also a very good friend.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show. You guys will keep laughing. I'm sure.
I'll do the show in some Harry Kori. So ভাল লাগিলে আৰু মানে আৰু এটা কি মই হেৰি কৰি আছো so sometime মানে মই যেটো কথা কৈছো so মানে কি মই নৰ্থ ইষ্টৰ কথা কৈছো আকৌ I'm getting back to the north east thing. So
sure.
have you got any script till now, or you're still you want people
I did surprisingly I did get it from somebody who's never lived in Northeast. She used to come for her summer vacations. I mean, I got some more which are just set in Northeast. They were not culturally nuanced to Northeast. They were just because it's obviously it's picturesque. যেনেকে তোমাৰ এইটো এটা আহিছিল মাজতে কি কৈছা
8+ -8 to কোৱা নাই
8+ সেইটোৱে মই -8 বোৰ নকওঁ কাৰণ -8 তেনেকুৱা বহুত আহিছে যোনবোৰ the film opens in one hilly areas in the northeast. Are where in northeast is so many more মানে কেতিয়া এইটো question কৰিবা মুৰে আগত এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ हम लोग फिल्म को ना हम लोग सीरीज को ना नॉर्थ ईस्ट में ओपन करेंगे लेकिन नॉर्थ ईस्ट है किधर कौन सा नॉर्थ ईस्ट धुबरी नॉर्थ ईस्ट या जोरहाट नॉर्थ ईस्ट they are also different. Forget about the states. Different. So it's like there are a lot of these which is set in the northeast and people like try to sell it like that. But one story which stuck with me, and it's been 2 years almost since I joined, it was one of the first stories that came to us. It is a brilliant story, and it was actually written by a girl who's from Bengal. She is Bengali, and her mama was based out of Guwahati, and she used to come here during summer vacations. And she grew up during the Ulfa insurgency when it was like at its peak. So tai jeta summer vacation ahisile, there were a lot of times curfew wagera hoy asile. So tai tetiar pra etur upor interest asile, ta bahut research kori likhisile, birat interesting story likhisile. The only issue then was we couldn't go ahead with it was because we had zero, I mean we had just started off. MX Layer hardly people knew, so there was zero audience base here. And secondly, the story needed the kind of talent and people who were not available at that point in time to do it. So we had to let it go. And by the time we could do it, I think they had taken it somewhere else. Ajiloke ulwa nai. I'm hoping kunubai ulabo. Mane I'm hoping, because this was one of the most beautiful story about that time in the Northeast. And I mean, when I saw Family Man 2, there's a character, Samantha's character, there was a character like her, but so much more well fleshed out that character was. I mean, I really wish we had the bandwidth to do it then.
Northeast to Iman.
That is the only story in Northeast that which is worth mentioning. Hekane ma koisu. Tamane bhaba 2 bosorat tenuka kono story ahai nai.
Maybe means like topic wise, the heavy wise, so there is not been a single decade. মানে য'ত একো ইভেন্ট নহয় মানে নৰ্থ ইষ্টত ষ্টাৰ্টিং ফ্ৰম ইচ ষ্টেট মিজোৰাম হওক নাগালেণ্ড হওক আলফা হওক অল দিস
ইমান আছে বহুত আছে কোনো আজিলৈকে এটাও এনেকুৱা ষ্টৰী অহা নাই যোনটো মই মেনশ্যন কৰিব পাৰো আৰু এইটো এটা ষ্টৰী মানে যোনটো মোৰটো এৰাই নাই মানে বাট এইটো আহাও নাই বাহিৰত কি মানে কিবা এটা there is something about that story that was that আৰু ইয়াত বহুত আমাৰ বহুত talented মানুহ আছে ইয়াত নতুন ৰাইটাৰ্ছ আছে. They're really talented. I just don't know what stops them. I really don't know. Maybe they try to go through a lot of these producers who এইটো কথা actually তুমি তোমাৰ viewers of ক'ব পাৰা. I don't know how many people it will reach out to. We are not a platform which only looks at concept if it comes through a producer or a well-known producer. We are open to আমাৰ এটা পুৰা email ID খোলা আছে যোনটোত anybody, even if it's your first concept that you have written, we read everything. Anybody, for writers, we are always open to new writers, new thoughts, new talents. So jikuno story likhisa, and if you are confident about that story, please do share it with us. And you don't have to have any backup ba production or hand.
Elege nilikhile amiu eta kiba eta koribo pari lahe ka bisale Amrita চিনি পাওয়ে যেতিয়া
seriously no বহুত মই চিনি পাও I যাক চিনি পাইছো তেওঁলোকক কৈছো বহুতে ট্ৰাইও কৰিছে, just that it didn't work. But there are a lot of other people who do not know, who do not have any approach, and a lot of other people from various places tahati mane তাহাঁতৰ কোনো এটা হেৰি নাই কাৰণে ভাল ভাল ৰাইটাৰ্ছ জানানে, ভাল ভাল ষ্টৰিজ ডোন্ট গেট দ্য অপৰচুনিটি টু বি ৰেড, কি কাৰণ তাহাঁতৰ এটা মানে there is no way of approaching a platform. We tried actually, we created an event called Penstorm, য'ত আমি SW Screenwriters Association through পৰা মানে সবকে কৈছিলো যে যাৰ যি কনসেপ্ট আছে পঠিওৱা, we'll read, we'll do a 3-day this thing session somewhere, we'll hear you out and we'll see. And Penstorm opera eta hetu 2 বছৰ আগত হৈছিলে এটা concept we have taken forward. So there were some 24,000 concepts.
So you
but
guys
even one person get heard.
You get
we produce, that's why
you produce, yeah.
We produce
okay.
And we have another amar aru eta heri ase division ase junto acquisition junto sobote thake jod ready products bur distribute, I mean ami dekhuwa ready products etu eta belek hetur commercials completely different hoy, hetu ready product lua hoy loi pelai amar heri showcase kora hoy.
So hey so আমি যদি কথা পাতি তো গৈ থাকিব পাৰিম never ending. So anyway মই এতিয়াও ৰিভিল কৰা নাই, এটো মানে লাভ ইন জানুৱাৰী ফেব্ৰুৱাৰী মাৰ্চ কিবা এটা আছিলে আৰু মই ভাস্কৰক দি দিম বাৰু, এটো মানে IIT আমি ইনফেক্ট আমি জয়পুৰত একেলগে আছিলো, চিনেমা হলত গৈছো বুজিছানে, মানে that এই টিভি শ্ব'টো to be
টিভি শ্ব'ত আছিলে এটা
মোক কওঁতে IIT আছিলে, তাৰ পিছত তুমি এনি ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং কলেজত যোৱা, সেই স্ক্ৰিপ্টটো সেই ড্ৰামাখন, ইট ইজ এ ষ্টেজ শ্ব' বেচিকেলি, চবেই জানে মানে, আৰু অমৃতাক মানে চবেই চিনি পায় মুঠতে। Anyway, on that note, বিৰাটে ভাল লাগিলে কথা পাতি। I don't know, means like আমি নতুন মানুহ নতুন ফিল্ডছ অৰ হেৰি আমি আনি আছো।
সুধিব বিচাৰিছো, যিহেতু তুমি কন্টেন্ট বুজি পোৱা, মানুহৰ আন্ডাৰষ্টেণ্ডিং বুজি পোৱা, মই সঁচাকে কনফিউজ হৈ যাওঁ দেই চিনেমা ৱৰ্ল্ডত। এই সালমান খানৰ চিনেমাবোৰ কেলে চলে, মানে মানুহে কি ভাল পায়?
এতিয়া নচলে
যেতিয়া চলিছিলে কেলে চলিছিলে, আৰু যেতিয়া আজি নচলে যদি কেলে নচলে, জাস্ট
ষ্টাৰ পাৱাৰ সেইটো সময়ত বহুত আছিলে। চোৱা তুমি এইটো একচুৱেলি এডিট কৰিবলগীয়া কথা নহয়, এইটো এটা ইণ্টাৰেষ্টিং টপিক যে ষ্টাৰ পাৱাৰটো নহয় এতিয়া বহুত ডাইলিউট হৈ গৈছে উইথ দ্য বাৰ্ষ্ট অফ OTT। কাৰণ কি আছে তুমি ভাবা, এটা সময়ত ভাবা যেতিয়া OTT নাছিলে, কেন ইউ ইমেজিন আ জয়দীপ এলাৱত or a Shifali Shah bagging best actors?
Exactly.
You know, or being the lead, forget about bagging the awards, being the lead in any film. That ageism ase, racism ase, casteism ase, sobism ase. Ageism being the biggest thing. I was to mane stars are this, others are only secondary roles. OTT ki hoise, Manoj Bajpayee finally after so long has got his due.
Yes.
You know, Irfan would have probably going for, but he had to make that foray into international films because he realized that iyat hi ketao mainstream na hobo, and international films are through the jete ki ahil tetya hi mainstream pale. So stardom is a very very warped concept in Bollywood, which has been broken with the burst of OTT. তুমি TVF or any show লই লোৱা, নবীন কস্তুরিয়া কোৱা বা আমোল পৰাশৰ কোৱা বা সুমিত তাৰ নামটো ফুল নামটো পাহৰিলো, সিহঁতৰ নামটো কোৱা, Vyas, they are all youth icons right now, Mithila Palkar and all of that. Kintu they are none of them is the typical, tumi Vikrant Massey lo lua, Rajkumar Rao lo lua, they are not the typical Bollywood hero.
Yes.
But today they are big names because performance suddenly has taken the front seat. And it's not your star power. I'm not saying that that doesn't mean that Shah Rukh, Amir, Salman will stop being what they are. Still, for a mission Mangal to work and to be popular and to reach out to the number of people that it reached out, needed an Akshay Kumar to do it. অকল যদি মাইকী মানুহখিনি হ'লহেঁতেন তেতিয়া চাগে মিছন মংগল ইমান ৰিচ নাপালেহেঁতেন, পপুলাৰিটি হয়তো পালেহেঁতেন, ক্ৰিটিক এৱাৰ্ড হয়তো পালেহেঁতেন, কিন্তু ৰিচ নাপালেহেঁতেন। কিন্তু সেই ষ্টৰিটো nobody will watch. People came to watch Akshay Kumar, but they ended up watching a story which is about women, a film which is made for the women and about women. So sometimes this is a strategy to use a star to tell a story. So today, if I have to tell a story which I want all of India to watch, I'll put a star. A Bobby Deol in Ashram helped me take the story to places where it wouldn't have gone if there was no Bobby Deol. So I would still do that.
So can I conclude that OTT tomar star power to democratize kori dise slowly?
All of democratize kori dise. The stars guru, they want to do a performing role. They just don't want to come and open their shirts and like run and dance and all of that. They also want to do a performing role because they've realized that otherwise it's a risk. People will forget them.
মই তোমাৰ ending to দিছো মানে জিটো মানে e-commerce কৰিলে তাৰছত জিটো তোমাৰ OTT এবোৰ কৰিলে finally which will also talk Bhaskar মই আৰু crypto financial world of koribo at some point of time.
Absolutely.
So cryptocurrency koribo jintu that will be another topic we'll talk at some point of time.
Because I don't know C of cryptocurrency, so I can't talk.
So so thank you Amrita. Goibar log pam bhalke.
Thank you
a lot for this opportunity actually.
Aru heavy aru. So tomorrow eto ki tumi eto ki koila tumi eto je what would work or heri to 6 cents to amar show to ki rating dibo bise.
Oh, this one depends on who all you get. Because more nisna celebrity aru ana hoyto it will go up. Start getting recorded.
Boy, yeah.
Face value lagibo aru star value lagibo.
ঠিক আছে থৈছো bye.
Okay, bye.